Attention Starfleet personnel, are you tired of endless duty rosters and warp core recalibrations? Introducing Buffer Time, the card game, the only recreational training simulation that teaches you how to manage your work schedule like a true lower decker. Bluff your way past maintenance tasks, dodge unexpected red alerts, and sabotage your friends, colleagues, while keeping that sweet, sweet buffer time for yourself.
Okay, computer, margaritas, frozen, salt.
Visit humanisttrek.com/Modiphius and use code TREK for 10% off. Remember, Starfleet Command neither confirms or denies the existence of buffer time. Simulation not recognized as an official Starfleet training program. Card shuffling speed may vary by species.
Aw, Tendi, look at us. Lower decks, breaching protocol together. Friendship.
Hey everyone, this is Eugene Roddenberry.
Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Adam Nimoy, Leonard Nimoy's son.
This is Leonard Crowfoot.
This is Dr. Aaron McDonald, Star Trek Science Advisor and Lieutenant Commander McDonald on Star Trek Prodigy.
And you're listening to
Humanist Trek.
Humanist Trek.
You're listening to Humanist Trek.
the Humanist Trek podcast.
And you're listening to Humanist Trek, a fabulous, fabulous show.
Enjoy.
And don't worry, you can do your Temporal Mechanics 101 homework later.
I'm getting, and my internet connection is unstable too.
Weird. Maybe the internet is unstable today.
And you're getting, your voice doesn't match with your your lips.
Like I'm being dubbed.
You're being dubbed like Granger Hines.
You didn't like my voice, motherfuckers.
Perhaps I could use this as an excuse to go to those far-off planets with little polka-dotted people if necessary, and be able to talk about love, war, nature, God, sex, all those things that go to make up the excitement of the human condition.
This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Welcome aboard.
Jean-Luc Picard to the Starship Enterprise.
You want to review your rapid progress?
That nonsense is centuries behind us. To the Starship Enterprise.
Oh, yeah?
That is enough, damn it!
Tempo, mon capitan.
To the Starship Enterprise.
You can't deny that you're still a dangerous, savage child race.
Of the planet Earth.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
Nooknek, and welcome to Humanist Trek. It's a comedy Star Trek podcast about the humanism in Star Trek. I'm Sarah Ray.
I'm Allie Ashmead.
And I neither of us are legal experts. We're podcasters, not a lawyer. But I want to talk this out. And we've been talking this out on the Discord. If you're not a member of the Humanist Trek Discord, you should come join us. You can get a link on our website at humanisttrek.com. So we're trying to sell this house. And when we built it, we put solar on. And I'm going to say here and now, I will never do business with Ion Solar again.
Mm-hmm.
They were awful to work with in a lot of different ways. But we had done solar in Florida on the house that we had built there last. And so we'd been through the process before. We kind of knew what we were doing.
So when you sold the house in Florida, did you have the solar contract and did selling the house pay it off? Is that how that worked?
You had choices. You could either, we made money on the sale of that house. We built it for $185 and sold it for $315.
Right.
And we'd had 5 years of equity in it. So we came away with cash at closing. And you can either agree to pay it off at closing or transfer the loan to the new buyer. There's options.
Mm-hmm.
The position we're in this time, though, is we're not going to make money on this house. In fact, if anything, it's going to be a short sale and we're going to lose out.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to the solar company to find out, if shit goes real sideways and we can't sell it at all, what happens if we're foreclosed on? Because the contract looks like they can make immediately due the $27,000 balance that we have with them due today. And or they can come out, take the panels and equipment down off the house to recover their loss.
Mm-hmm.
So my question was just like, hey, if the bank comes and says, we're taking the house back, what happens with our deal?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been poring over the contract and trying to figure out what all that means and how you can read it and blah, 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 whatever. And I can't afford a lawyer. So I need somebody pro bono who will look at this shit for me. But
right.
I asked, what would happen? Like, we're going to try to sell the house and try to transfer the loan to the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And they came back and said, actually, right now, we're not approving any loan transfers at all for anyone. Your option is to pay the full balance at closing.
And they know you can't.
They know I can't. But also, this is so the solar servicing company that Ion wrote through was Mosaic. And Mosaic recently filed for bankruptcy, like we about to do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we're going to do or not. We're going to try everything not to have to file for bankruptcy, of course. But
Right.
Anyway, so they just filed for bankruptcy. So they're just trying to get their money. And Becca had a great thought the other day. She said, I wonder if what happened was, so, we put all the solar on our house with this government stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was you would get a tax credit of a certain amount for putting solar on your house.
Mm-hmm.
And the intention was you were supposed to take that money that you got back on your taxes and put it
give
towards
to
your
the
solar system.
Right. But people didn't
the
do
economy is shit.
Right.
And none of us did that. I had other bills to pay. And so I kept that money and I did not put it to the solar to bring my payment down. I just used it for other shit. And so the solar companies were probably like, well, fuck me. We were counting on all that money. Now we're broke. Now we're filing for bankruptcy. So anyway, that's what's going on there. But now they're saying that no, the only way we can't transfer the loan, the only way to do it is to pay it off. I ain't got $27,000 laying around. I mean, I can take money out of my retirement, but I'd hate to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just need representation because you know how fucking contracts are, man. They're written to be confusing on purpose.
Yeah.
They're always written to benefit the company,
Always.
not the end user.
No, they always say it's for your protection, but it's not. It's for their protection.
Yep.
Yeah.
I need a pro bono look over this contract and tell me if there's any loopholes. Like we do this week on Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 2, The Ensigns of Command.
Commander, you'll soon be getting an intruder alert.
What? I've got something, sir.
Intruder alert, sir. It's an old-style starship, sir. Constellation class, heading this way under impulse com.
Number one, kindly take charge of our guests until we have time to decide what we're going to do with them. Sir, number one, keep them out of my way.
Here is some classic TNG shit. A string quartet is assembling in 10 forward for a performance. And included in this one is Miles O'Brien on cello, which we've never seen.
I don't
and
know
we
that
never see again.
Yeah, I don't think I knew he even played an instrument.
Nah.
And then Vulcan is on violin, and then Data comes in with a violin as well. And he goes straight to the table with Picard and Crusher. But he looks terrified. He walks in to 10 forward and he's like, "Oh shit, the captain's here."
So he walks up to him and he's like, "Oi, maybe you should come to the next performance when I won't be playing," because apparently his bandmates have told him that he's technically proficient but lacks soul.
He ain't got no soul.
No.
Huh.
Which, okay, one of the quartet is Vulcan, which is about as close to a Soong-type android as they come, but whatever.
I can't see a Vulcan playing with soul either.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's a violin. Come on.
Jean-Luc and Beverly try to explain that you shouldn't come tell the audience this is going to be shit before you even start playing. And Data's like, but I thought honesty is always the best policy. And this is like trying to explain to a kid that, you've always told to be honest, why sometimes maybe you shouldn't be. And Picard explains it from a command perspective, which I thought was great. Knowing your limitations is one thing, but advertising them to your crew can damage your credibility as a leader. You might lose their confidence, or worse, start believing it yourself. So Data goes on to join the group, but just as they strike the first few notes, Picard gets called to the bridge because of a message from Sheliak Corporate. And of course, as he gets up to leave, the camera lingers on Data, who has got to be thinking, wow, I really do suck.
Because he's leaving. Yeah, it has nothing to do with him.
And 3 notes in and Picard left. Shit.
On the bridge, Worf tells the captain that it is from the Sheliak star system. And Riker's like, wait, they haven't called us in like 100 and some years. What do they want now? They put it on screen and it's just a recording of a message. And it's this like really electronic voice. And they hear this message that says, Federation creatures. There are humans on the 5th planet of Tau Cygna. This planet was ceded to the corporation in section 133, paragraph 77 of the Treaty of Armans. We will begin settlement of this world in 4 days. Remove the humans. Period. And it was just on repeat.
I had a moment here where I got episodes confused in my brain because I thought we had already seen the Sheliak in TNG, but I was thinking of the Harada in that one piece of the action episode of TNG where Picard has to speak that weird alien language to them, and then he hides out in the holodeck. You remember that? At the very end of the episode, he's like,
Yeah.
whatever he says,
Okay.
Totally different aliens. I'm getting my aliens mixed up.
Yeah, these ones speak English.
I do remember the Sheliak. It was on one of these video games that I played back in the day, that you had to interact with the Sheliak.
That's an odd race to pick for a video game.
Right? Right. Not a very common, well-known one. We should also mention that the voice of the Sheliak is Mark McChesney. And if that voice sounds familiar, it's because he also voiced Armus with very similar processing.
Interesting that I made a joke that's coming later because I'm like, when they show the picture of, I'm like, this looks like Armus's cousin. This was Armus's cousin. And I didn't even recognize and maybe that's why I had Armus in my head, because it's the same voice.
That's funny. This planet just happens to be in the Delore Belt, which has heavy concentrations of hyperonic radiation, which is lethal to humans. So how could there possibly be humans on this planet? But there's our mystery, and off we go.
Captain, Doctor, I am honored by your presence, but may I suggest you attend the second concert?
Why, Data?
Ensign Ortiz will perform the violin part. My rendition will be less enjoyable.
Oh?
Although I am technically proficient, according to my fellow performers, I lack soul.
Quick chat on the bridge before putting some restrictions on this week's episode. Apparently, hyperonic radiation also affects sensors, transporters, and phasers, but there are definitely humans down there, and somehow they've survived. So Data's going to take a shuttle down, because he's the only one that won't be affected by this radiation, and start evacuations. Because if we don't, the Sheliak are going to come along and genocide the humans and just be done with it, because they see humans as a lower life form.
And technically, they are within their rights to remove trespassers because according to the treaty, the contract, that, the place is theirs. The planet is theirs.
Riker guesses they'll probably find an old survey ship and maybe a dozen or so survivors.
How wrong. How wrong Riker is.
Down on the planet, Data's parked his shuttle in the old foam rock playset.
Hey!
And I haven't seen that in a while. And a couple of the planet's inhabitants come poking around. They recognize the markings as Federation, and then, comedically, Data comes around from behind some foam rocks and startles them, and then he turns around and looks behind him as if they are looking at something behind him and not him. That's always a great choice for Data. It's funny every time it happens.
Yeah. They're like, you're not human. And he's like, no, I'm android, but I am Lieutenant Commander Data of the Federation Starship. And they're like, oh, yeah, my great-grandparents were citizens of the Federation. We haven't had Federation visit us. As a matter of fact, we haven't had anyone visit us in like 90-some years. But we're not the people you want to talk to, so we'll take you to Goshaven.
Whoever that is, probably their leader.
Yeah.
We don't learn their names right away, but these guys are Heritath, played by Mark L. Taylor, and Kentor, played by Richard Allen. Mark has been very successful in television and movies as an actor and director, and we'll see him again in Voyager, albeit with a lot more ham on his face. And Richard, we will see a lot sooner in a 5th season episode of TNG, also with a lot more ham on his face.
Kentor? Okay.
So they think the Federation is going to be super proud of everything they've accomplished here. And Data's like, cool. And who are you people? Turns out they're descendants from a colonizer ship called Artemis. And rather than let Data read the Encyclopedia Britannica for this one, we cut back to the D, where Riker has the encyclopedia opened up. The Artemis was launched 92 years ago, headed for Septimus Minor, but they never checked in, and Starfleet sent out a search party, but apparently found nothing.
I guess they just gave up and then...
Right? Recorded them as lost forever. Of course, there's no information on how they got so off course because they didn't keep great records in those early days. They were just trying to survive. And Picard's like, got it. How many dozens of people are there? One or two? Nope. 15,253 total colonists. And Picard's like,
Fuck!
What?
Like, there's a lot of fucking going on. Like, okay, how is that possible in
90 years?
years? Is that, 90 years?
Well, we don't know what the original complement was.
But they were on a colony ship, so I'm thinking maybe 400, 500 people.
Let's go check on the Bring Lloydie and see how they're doing.
Oh, they probably like got 20,000 the amount of fucking that they're gonna do. But yeah, I guess they triple. Like if you start out with 500 people, are you able to triple your?
Well, again, as long as, every woman has a child with at least 5 different men and whatever that whole deal was.
Guess.
I don't know.
That's a lot of people.
Now, remember, we don't have transporters, so we'd have to use shuttles to evacuate them. And Worf says even stuffing them full, it'd take over 4 weeks, and we ain't got 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So Data's going to prepare the colonists to leave while Picard tries to call the Sheliak and ask for an extension.
So Haratath and Kentor lead Data to the town square. They do like a shot of like there's quite a large civilization. They've got like buildings and lights and civilization.
Yeah, I confused this episode with another different episode again too. Part of it was this village and the water system that I remembered another episode of TNG, and I'll mention it again later. But they drag Data along to meet Goshevin, who is played by Granger Hines. But if you felt a little uncanny valley about Granger Hines, it's because they only used his face.
What?
After filming was done, they decided he sounded too much like John Wayne, so they hired somebody else to dub the voice.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
And because of this, Hines asked not to be credited.
Oh. They're like
Mhm.
they didn't like his voice?
No.
Man, Granger Hines looks like John Hamm today. Like, he kind of looks like John Hamm.
He was probably typecast. He was in a ton of Westerns, but also Barnaby Jones, Chips. He made the rounds. He was in a lot of stuff. But yeah, they did not use his voice. And so it sounded like I felt a little off about it to start with before I read all that. But yeah, it was a little weird. Anyway, he's not interested in evacuation or Sheliak or whatever other bullshit this android has to say. Seems like we're here now. We've been here for over 90 years and possession is 9/10 of the law or whatever. We do learn that the Artemis's guidance system failed, which is how they ended up way out here. And then a bunch of them died from the radiation before they figured out how to adapt, although we never find out how.
Nope.
And just look at us now. We figured out how to bring water into the desert and we built this thriving colony. Fuck the Sheliak.
Okay, so they came with 500 people and they lost a third.
You still on his numbers.
I am.
No, you're right. I know.
So they lost. I'm still the math. The math just doesn't add up. Make it make sense. Maybe our listeners can do some math for some of the smart listeners. Do the math for me and tell me how you get 15,000 people in 90 some years out of like I don't know.
Searching.
Yeah, there's no article in here that says how many people were on the ship to start with. We have no idea.
I'm assuming. I make an assumption.
Yeah.
Like most of the ships carry like 400 people. Like the Starship has 400 something. I don't know.
So Data's like, unfortunately, there's this contract. And Goshevin suggests, why don't we just modify the contract? But Data's like, oh, that's not likely. The Sheliak intend to colonize this planet. And if you're still here when they get here in a few days, they will kill every last one of you.
Like, wait, kill us all? But Data has to make them realize, because they've been kind of living in a bubble, that the Sheliak don't have any kind of regard for human life. So he's there to, get them out and start an evacuation plan. But Goshevin's like, no, we're not leaving. But Goshevin is all about himself. Look what we've done. We're not leaving. You've delivered your message. Now go back to your ship.
Goshevin and some others go back to whatever they were doing with that gadget in the water when a fairly large metal tool is thrown at Data from off camera, which of course he easily catches.
Mm-hmm.
And a woman enters the scene now, and she is very interested in Data. But Goshevin teases her about it. Only you would get excited like this over a walk-in calculator. But she's like, oh my gosh, are your neural pathways duotronic? Positronic? No way. I didn't even know that was possible. What's your memory capacity? How many operations per second? Are you fully functional? I have like a million questions, and Data's like, we do not have time for a million questions.
Are you fully functional in all techniques? I mean, come on. If only like meeting a mate was that simple.
Right?
Just ask him these questions, and then you know.
So Data's got a mission, and your buddy Goshevin seems unwilling to talk further. So she introduces herself as Ardrian McKenzie and offers to help, and we cut back to Goshevin watching them, and he looks annoyed at all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Ardrian is played by Eileen Seeley. She was in Batman Forever.
Which one is that?
I don't know. I wasn't a Batman nerd.
I'm not either. Of all of the superheroes, that's the one I could not stand.
Oh, really? Now, see, I love the old Batman TV series.
No.
That one I fucking loved.
Just never got into Batman.
Huh. She was in Jack Frost, and got her start making appearances on all of my favorites: Family Ties, Facts of Life, Designing Women, Mr. Belvedere, Who's the Boss?
Oh, man, Mr. Belvedere. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
In the observation lounge back on the D, LaForge and O'Brien come in to talk to Picard, and Riker's like, we're giving you an assignment, and the one thing we don't want to hear is it's impossible. And then so Picard says, I need the transporters to function despite the hypertronic radiation. And immediately LaForge says, yeah, but that's never mind. And they literally walk out.
Riker and Troy remind us that even if we get the Sheliak on the phone, they're not likely to be cooperative. When the treaty was first signed, the Federation sent 372 legal experts to negotiate. What have we got? Klingon guile?
Gentlemen, we're giving you an assignment. The one thing we don't want to hear is that it's impossible.
I need the transporters to function, despite the hyperonic radiation.
Yeah, but that's Yes, sir.
Picard's pacing on the bridge as they try to ring up the Sheliak, and they boost the signal, and they finally get him on the horn. And this is when we see what they look like, which it's like this dark figure with a bunch of lights on it, and I'm just thinking that's Armis's cousin or something. Like they're like, it's just a black figure.
Do you remember what the baseball again, sorry. And I'm sure this is a pillar influence, maybe now that I'm thinking about it. Do you remember the World Series trophy and what it looks like?
The World Series trophy?
Yeah.
Baseball? No.
Yes.
I wouldn't fucking know. No.
Okay. Let me share it to you.
Oh, are you saying that?
I think the lights around the seat that the Sheliak is sitting in reminds me of the World Series trophy.
Armis's cousin looks like a World Series trophy.
Look at this.
Maybe.
And it looks like little Armis is sitting inside there. But instead of flags on the poles, they're these light fixture things that are really cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought it looked very, very much like the World Series trophy. A lot of fucking baseball in season 3 already.
Yeah. They start talking to the Sheliak, and they're like, why are you calling me? We don't need to have a conversation.
Why you always calling me when you got your traumas?
But Picard's like, we got a problem. And before he even can tell him, Sheliak don't care. Sheliak don't give a shit. It's like Honey Badger don't give a shit. They're just like, remove the humans. 3 Earth days remain. But Picard's like, let's try to negotiate. And the Sheliak are like, the treaty's signed. There's nothing to negotiate. But there's a colony on the planet, and can I offer a compromise? And Sheliak's like, denied. And they have a point because the law is paramount and we're entitled. Picard goes on with his but, and then they fucking hang up on him.
Ardrian has taken Data back to her place now. Oh my. And they're talking about why Goshevin isn't even open to hearing what Data has to say. And it sure sounds like a lot of robot phobia. He asks if she believes they should evacuate, and she does. Not in spite of his being an android, though, because of it. She's into technology and robotics and doesn't carry those silly prejudices.
Yeah, she's really into it.
You take AA batteries or C batteries?
Or maybe even D batteries.
Oh my. She says people can be selfish, irrational, stubborn, malicious, you name it, but computers don't have those failings. And so Data says, so you conclude because of this that I am impartial, so you accept my recommendations. Oh, if only we had trustworthy AI today.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even ask ChatGPT a question and get a correct answer.
Data gets a call from Picard saying that the Sheliak are not going to fucking negotiate. So that puts a fire under Data.
Yeah, we got to get back to Goshevin immediately. Before we leave Ardrian's place, I do want to mention this robot-looking sculpture thing that's just behind Data's shoulder throughout their conversation.
I did see that. It is like one of those, like, what show was it from that it looked like it's from?
It looked to me like a prototype for one of those Roger droids from Star Wars.
Yeah. That's it.
Roger.
In the transporter room, Geordi and O'Brien make their first transport attempt, and what goes out as some kind of cylindrical nomad-looking thing comes back as a melted blob of metal as Riker comes in to check on their progress.
And he sees it, and he's like, what the hell is that? And he's like, that was our first attempt, so he just says, keep at it. Back in the town square on the planet, Goshevin is talking to Data, and he's pointing to his, like, aqueduct or whatever that fucking thing is. And he's like, do you see this? Do you see what this is? And Data's like, yeah, it's water, and goes on to tell us the molecular structure of water. But Goshevin feels more, it's more than that. To him, it's the blood, sweat, and tears of all of the 90 years of effort that they've made. And they brought water to the desert, and et cetera, et cetera. Ardrian says, you're talking nonsense. And he goes on to say, like, oh, my grandfather's buried on that mountain. He died, to make this possible and all this stuff. And they're like, we're not going to be bullied off our land.
To him, this whole colony represents sacrifice. And so he's romanticizing their whole existence and the history of their existence, which feels very America to me.
It does. And what also feels very America is it's about him.
Mm-hmm.
And aren't you concerned about the safe? Don't you realize that all your people are going to die?
Yeah.
And it's more about him and what it represents than the actual people and their actual lives.
Data reminds him that the Sheliak will just kill everyone, but he's still not moved by that threat and leaves Data and Ardrian to scheme. And she is all in on helping Data. If they can't convince Goshevin, maybe they can convince enough of the others to mutiny.
Yeah.
Riker drops into the ready room to find a very irritated Picard. Starfleet told him it'd be 3 weeks before they could get a colony transport ship out there. And of course, we don't have 3 weeks. So they're going to try to intercept the Sheliak ship that must be en route to the planet and hope to convince them to extend the deadline and hope that their intercept isn't seen as hostile.
And now I didn't realize, but they have 2 days now.
The clock is ticking.
The law is paramount. We are entitled.
This is not a law. It is a treaty. It is designed to smooth relations between races, not to act as a straight jacket.
Riker calls up Data to let him know that they're leaving. And remember earlier when Data was all, I'm not good at this, about violin playing? Now he's all, I'm not good at this, about being a cultural diplomat. So he's very like, there's no self-confidence in Data this week.
Yeah.
So Riker tries to give him some advice. If the leader refuses to hear logical arguments and only speaks about the structures they've built, try something else. Data's like, oh, I talked to a bunch of people, and most of them want to stay and fight the Sheliak, and some want to try negotiating, and some of the rednecks think the whole thing is just a deep state trying to trick them into leaving.
And Riker gives him some tough love. He's like, Data, I can't help you. I don't know these people. I haven't talked to them. Use that fancy brain of yours and carry out your mission. Period.
Yeah, you're a smart cookie. Oh, and no pressure or anything, but the lives of 15,000 people are on your shoulders.
Yeah. And he's like, how violent are the Sheliak? And Riker's like, the treaty is the only thing preventing them from eradicating the colony the moment they discovered it. So they're still there. And the fact that they even got a warning is due to the treaty.
Ardrian has come up at the end of this phone call because she thinks they're having some effect on the colonists. There's so much buzz about the Sheliak that Goshevin has called a public meeting. And while it doesn't seem like he's changed his mind, a public meeting could be a good place for Data to make his case to everyone all at once. But he's still got the self-confidence of an android that plays violin with Chief O'Brien, so she pulls him in and kisses him on the lips.
I'm like, why though? She knows it. Why? Come on, Artie, come on, girl. Why would you know he's an android just because he's representing as a man? Why would you kiss him?
She wants a piece of that.
Multiple technique. Yeah. But come on.
Yeah.
But he's confused by it, of course.
I love Brent Spiner's confusion that he plays this for, but he's got experience in this area. Data's been down this road before.
Yeah, but the last thing he expected was for a woman to, he's trying to save their lives and she kisses him. So he's like, this is out of place.
And he asks, why did you do that? And this sends us down a whole Google search about kissing and affection and support. And he's like reading dictionary definitions at her. And she goes, wow, you really don't understand human behavior, do you? It's okay. Sometimes I don't either. Androids are more rational. But that's the problem. Data making rational arguments doesn't seem to be working here. So she suggests some reverse psychology, although that would require some deception, and Data realizes that perhaps this is one of those moments where excessive honesty isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Up in the transporter room, Picard gets a fantastic comedic moment. Remember earlier when Riker came in to check on him and the thing had melted? Now Picard comes into the transporter room to check on him. And he walks in and sees the not quite as melted, but still pretty melty cylinder, asks how it's going, and Geordi's like, about how you'd expect. And Picard says, splendid, carry on. Heel turns and leaves. Like, the timing was so perfect. I howled.
Wesley says he wants the impossible, and LaForge is like, yep, that's the definition of captain, is asking for the impossible, basically.
The townspeople have gathered at night around the pool of water in town, and Goshevin starts as Data and Ardrian arrive, and he says he's called this meeting to replace misinformation with cold, hard fact. And that's some Fox News bullshit if I've ever heard it.
There's no misinformation given, though.
Mm-hmm.
Data told him like it was, you're gonna die if you don't leave, period. But
Data's fake news.
Yeah.
You can't trust Data. Data's fake news.
Yeah. Alternative facts.
Mm-hmm. Data asks to speak, and Goshevin is like, go pound sand. So Data's like, oh, do you consider your position so weak that it cannot withstand debate?
Ooh,
burn. Damn.
Sick burn, bro.
Yeah, that was great.
And I love this fucking speech. And
yes.
And he just tells him like it is. He says, you know the Sheliak threat and that you need to evacuate, but yet your dear leader, has decided otherwise, and that's his right, and I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. I think your conviction is admirable, even though you're doomed. Your effort will be valiant, and when you die, you will die for land and honor, and your children will understand that they're dying for a worthy cause. And long after the battle's over, their courage will be remembered and extolled. But Ardrian says, but remembered by who?
And Data corrects her. Remembered by whom?
And Data's
No.
like, oh yeah, everyone will be dead, so there won't be anyone alive to remember you. And I think that maybe got them thinking. But then Goshevin does that 80s clap thing, that slow clap.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, nice try, android. You must think we're stupid. But he's like, I'm just trying to describe your inevitable destruction.
And get you to feel something about it.
Yeah, you're going to die. You're going to die, and no matter what you've got here, it's all going to be wiped away.
And one of the guys in the crowd is like, I felt something. And Goshevin launches into another tirade. This nation exists because generations gave their lives for it, and many more died keeping the brown people from coming across our borders. My grandfather, and Ardrian finishes the sentence for him, is buried on that damn mountain. Well, who's going to be left to bury you? Ooh.
And then he's like, but everything we have, and he's talking about things again, we got to abandon everything that they built. Everything that they accomplished means nothing.
You elected me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You gonna follow me because you elected me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's willing to, so he says, I'm willing to stake our lives on it. What a leader. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What a leader.
Mm-hmm. So he's like, you're all with me, right? And of course they're like, yeah, we're with you. And Data says, then you'll die here.
Why did you do that?
You appeared to need it.
Among humans, a kiss usually serves to seal a friendship or indicates support, attraction, affection. In this context, I must assume that your intention was to express support.
You really don't understand human behavior, do you?
That is something of an understatement.
Haritath kind of hangs back as the crowd breaks up, and he tells Data, hey, by the way, I think you're, I believe you. I don't want to die needlessly. And Kentor speaks up and says that he's not sure because he feels some sort of loyalty, of course, to Goshevin, but he wants to hear more about what he has to say. And what else is there to say? Like, you're gonna die, you stay here if you want, or leave. But Haritath says, okay, there's other people that want to rebel. So Ardrian says, like, let's get the rebels and meet at my house.
Roger. Back on the D, Troy and Picard are discussing the Sheliak problem, trying to find any kind of common ground to start from. Troy explains that he must speak with complete accuracy because the Sheliak insisted the treaty be written with such complexity to prevent future misunderstandings. So it sounds like what we need is someone who can find a loophole in Sarah's solar contract.
But she also does an example of how their languages are so different. The Sheliak have learned Federation languages, but they can't learn the Sheliak's language. They've tried and failed. And she gives this example of, she holds up a cup of some dark liquid and she says, smareth. And she's like, what did I just say? And it could be anything. It could be this liquid is brown or clear, or it could be cup or glass. So it's about communication and how to communicate with them properly.
The Sheliak colony ship is now on visual, so Picard heads to the bridge and gets on a Skype call requesting face-to-face negotiation to settle the crisis on Tau Cygna 5. Of course, they refuse, and Picard invokes paragraph 653, subparagraph 9, which entitles them to consultation. And the Sheliak simply says, granted, and hangs up. So it seems like Picard is going to beam over there and plead his case in person.
Meanwhile, at the Rebels base, Ardrian's home, they got questions. Like, is the Federation going to resettle him and then just leave him alone? And yeah, Data's like, well, do whatever you want. We'll give you help or no help, whatever you want. And Kentor seems to be with them now, but just is worried about how do they convince Goshevin because he's respected and people will do what he says. So, but Ardrian is trying to like build him up to be like the rebel leader. And she's like, well, they respect you too. If you take a stand, they'll fall in line.
But then fucking Goshevin shows up.
He's got word of a rebel meeting.
He's like, all right, nothing to see here. This is over. He goes over to Data and uses some device to knock him out. Great stunt fall, by the way.
Yeah, well, it was a little delayed because like he phasers him. He's like, Data's, you're stirring up trouble. And so he shoots him, and then it's like he stands there for a second and then he just jumps and falls or whatever. But
and he's like, well, that's it. Show's over. Time to go home. So Ardrian grabs some devices and starts scanning Data, and everybody else presumably leaves.
Meanwhile, on the Sheliak ship, Troy and Picard beam over to a really, really dark set with a few lights, and they go to see Armis's cousin. And Armis tells him to come up and speak, and Picard is like, we will comply with your request to move the humans, but we need time. And Sheliak is still not budging. And the reason is they have some membership on board, and that they need to proceed with going to the planet, and they need these humans gone before the membership, whoever the fucking membership is.
Well, that's the members of the colony, right? That they're going to plant on this planet.
Is that what that? I mean, I thought it was like
I think so.
like a dignitary. I thought it was like one or two people that meant like important people. That's what I took it as. But anyway, Sheliak, no matter what Troy and Picard come up with, they're like, no, you have to remove the creatures. And Picard is doing that. But you know, we won't have ships available for 3 weeks. And Sheliak is like, you're in violation. And then Sheliak starts quoting the contract section, blah, 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 paragraph, blah, blah, blah. Unwanted life forms inhabiting H-class worlds will be removed at the discretion of the Sheliak Corporation. And then Picard keeps doing the but. Next thing you know, their asses are zapped back onto the bridge. And Riker's like, I guess they hung up on you again?
What I thought was interesting about this scene is that Picard made no new arguments here.
Yeah.
He said the same thing he's been saying all along.
Yeah.
I grant you that this is your planet. I grant you that these people on the planet need to be moved. I'm just asking for a little more time.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting to me, I think, is why did he think the conditions of the meeting would change the outcome, right? Oh, if I can just sit down face to face and do a strong handshake, you know, then we can talk as men and get something done or whatever, like rather than talking on the phone. But he made zero new arguments here. He just said the same thing he's been saying all episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, granted, he went so far as to read a little extra in the contract just to get a meeting, but he didn't read any further to see if there were any other loopholes.
You need time, Picard of the Enterprise. We will save you time. We will eradicate the human infestation.
They are not vermin. They are citizens of the Federation. I will not permit this outrage.
Intelligent converse is impossible. You do not discuss. You gibber.
Ardrian is scanning Data when he sits upright suddenly, like we've seen him do a few times now. And he explains that, you know, he's got self-diagnostic systems just for shit like this. Data has decided now that words don't seem to be working, so maybe it's time for some action, and that action requires a heater. Ardrian's like, what's a heater? And Data says, it's a weapon. And no, she didn't freak out at all. He just says, it's a weapon, but it doesn't function here because of the radiation. So I'm going to have to, you know, be a little creative.
So I think it's interesting here that Data knows he's going to have to adjust his communication as well.
Yeah.
To get through to these people.
So they go to the shuttle where Data plucks out some circuit board from inside his arm and solders it to the circuit board of a heater, which will somehow magically make it work here. And if you could do that, couldn't you do that to the ship's phasers too? Anyway.
Oh.
He tells Ardrian to get word to Goshevin that Data is going to the pumping station where he will destroy the aqueduct. And Ardrian's like, he's going to try to stop you. And Data says he hopes so. And here's another moment where I kept getting this episode confused with the one where Data gets amnesia, like Kermit the Frog in that Muppet movie. and he's carrying around some suitcase full of radioactive material. You remember that one?
Nope.
God, I thought that was the Shoot the Aqueduct episode for some reason. And I don't know. I just keep getting these episodes confused in my brain, and brain, what is brain?
I don't know. That doesn't even sound familiar.
No?
Mm-mm.
I wonder what season that is.
Data gets amnesia and carries around a suitcase? A
Yeah.
briefcase of radio?
Yeah.
What?
Thine Own Self is the episode.
Huh. Which season?
Season 7.
Okay.
Final season episode.
Yeah.
I'll forget that we talked about this by the time we get there. Back on the D, yellow alert, shields up, and they maneuver the D nose to nose with the Sheliak ship, and Picard blows in a call, and he's like, listen, you got to get through me if you want to get to the planet and the people on it.
And by the way, get me that treaty because there's must be something else I've missed since they're beating us over the head with it.
On the planet, it seems like the men have gathered again, and 4 of them stand guard around the pool, while the others are up on some high platform. And Data just sneakily pops up from behind a wall and heaters all 4 of those guards. And Goshevin comes ripping down the stairs like he's going to stop an android. Good luck. And
Yeah.
Data's like, you should stop. That was the stun setting. This is not. And he pushes a couple of buttons and fires the heater at the aqueduct, and we see sparks fly, and then this red energy travels up the whole water system.
Yeah, I was like, cool. I was like, damn, that seems kind of cruel for Data.
Right?
Data does say, and he takes his android dick out and starts swinging it. And he's like, I can reduce this pumping station to a pile of debris, but my point is clear. I am only an android with one weapon, and there are hundreds of Sheliak coming. They're going to fucking obliterate you. They don't even have to step foot on this planet. So the choice is yours. You'll die without ever having seen the face of your killers. And I think that maybe this gets through to Goshevin. His guards are getting up and they're, shaking off the phaser hits that they took. And Goshevin's like, yeah, man, I was really gonna die here for this. And Data's like, this is just things. Things can be replaced, but lives can't. And I think he finally gets it.
Yeah. It also gave Kentor the confidence to speak up, because he's like, listen, man, we got to go. There are other places, other challenges. We can do what we did here anywhere.
We can rebuild.
Yeah. Time to wrap up the Sheliak problem. They're all on the bridge, poring over pages of PDF, trying to find the loophole.
Worf is like, fuck this. Let's just fight.
Yep. But suddenly Picard stops on a particular paragraph, and he has the Sheliak brought back on Skype. And Picard's one weird trick is to invoke paragraph 1290 and formally request a third-party arbitrator. And the Sheliak is like, oh, fuck, you have the right. And Picard goes, also, pursuant to subsection D3, I name the Grisellas to arbitrate. Unfortunately, they are in hibernation right now, but they'll be awake in about 6 months or so, and then we can get this all settled. Or you can give me my 3 weeks. And the Sheliak is like, this is bullshit. And Picard says, fine, then I declare the treaty in abeyance. And now the Sheliak is doing but.
And then Picard hangs up on him.
Yeah.
And Riker's like, you enjoyed that, didn't you? He's like, you goddamn right.
So good. And then, speaking of so good, then the Sheliak are calling back now. Like, wait, let's talk this out. And Picard just casually walks over to the phone is ringing and ringing and ringing.
And he's not answering.
And Picard walks over to the plaque on the wall and like wipes to check for dust. And then
yeah. And he's like, aren't you going to answer that? And then finally, he says on screen.
The Sheliak agree to the request for 3 weeks. Picard thanks them. They hang up and the Sheliak ship turns and leaves. And then Geordi comes onto the bridge and he's like, Captain, we can do it. We can modify the transporters. It'll only take 15 years and a research team of 100, but we can do it. And Picard's like, I think we're good. I think we'll just wait for the transport ship. But, good job.
And I was like, you made us do all that fucking...
For nothing.
Like melting, transporting things and melting them just for you to tell us I mean, I know it was their contingency plan.
Right.
But yeah.
And maybe that research that they did will go towards improving ships in the future, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
On the planet, Data is in the shuttle calling Worf for rendezvous instructions when Ardrian drops by. Evacuation plans are going well, and Data thanks her for her part in all of this. Says, I couldn't have done it without you, kid. And she kind of beats around the bush, but finally comes out with it. Do you have any feelings for me?
Why? Okay. Like, of all people, she knows he's an android. Like, why?
Mm-hmm. Data says, I have no feelings of any kind. And she's obviously heartbroken by this, although deep down she already knew.
Yeah.
So Data gets a brilliant idea, and Brent plays that moment of realization on his face really well too. And he's like, oh, I know what to do.
I'll
So
kiss
he
her.
grabs her by the shoulder and kisses her. And she's like, what the hell was that for? And he gives her her line back. You appeared to need it. So she says, you saw I was unhappy and did what you concluded would make me feel better. Rational to the last. Data boards the shuttle and closes the door, and Ardrian gives a quick wave goodbye. In the ready room, Data arrives to find Picard playing some classical music on the Alexa, and he congratulates Data on a job well done and mentions that Dr. Crusher was kind enough to provide a recording of that concert that he had to walk out on. And he says Data's playing shows feeling, which again, Data's like, I just told this bitch on the planet I don't have that.
I ain't got no feelings.
He's doing just, exact imitations of other players. And Picard points out that, well, there's got to be some data in this somewhere. You did choose the violinists to imitate. And those two have very different styles. And then you managed to blend them together somehow. And Data says, well, I guess I have learned to be creative when necessary. Like the trick with the heater on the planet. Picard says he's looking forward to Data's next concert as Data exits and the camera tracks around tight on Picard, and we're off to the next adventure.
Boy, I'm sure glad that's over with.
I'll be glad to be relieved of this cargo.
Me too.
It is done, and perhaps just as well.
Yeah, but I learned something today.
I sincerely hope that this is the last time that I find myself here.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? You see, of all the species, yours cannot abide stagnation. Change is at the heart of what you are. That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
Something that connected very deeply with me in this episode was Data's inability to change the minds of these people because he thought, all I have to do is present a logical argument and they'll get it and everything will be fine. And that is the equivalent of telling a God believer, here's a bunch of evidence that refutes your belief, and expecting that person to go, oh, of course, obvious, it's so clear.
Yeah.
But these are deeply seated beliefs. Believing that a God exists and works in your life, believing that a few powerful elites control the whole world, believing that COVID-19 is a hoax, believing that this colony is so important and meaningful that you'd rather die than leave. Deep-rooted beliefs that cannot be uprooted simply by showing someone some evidence contrary to their belief.
Right. He makes assumptions that that people are going to be logical.
Yep.
And they kept harping on, oh, he doesn't have any feelings. So obviously then he would not understand how humans are going to react because he's logical. He shouldn't assume that humans are logical, but he does.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like you said, I'm just going to go in there and tell them the truth. And then they're going to be like, they're going to pack up their shit and be ready to go. And no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
But also, that same thing can be applied to the Sheliak. Picard's like, oh, well, it's going to take 3 weeks to evacuate these people. Surely they'll understand. No, they do not.
Right.
Communication never goes the way you think it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. And they believe that humans are a lower life form. So, that's their deep rooted belief.
Yeah.
A lot of this, like, deeply held belief stuff has mechanisms built into it specifically to dismiss that new evidence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might go to your Trump supporter uncle and show them the actual unredacted Epstein files in hand, only to have your evidence rejected because you got it from CNN and CNN's not a valid source. That's fake news or whatever.
And then made it up. And then after a while, you know, it's funny how people's minds how people pivot to support their own beliefs and their own bullshit.
Yeah.
Because they would rather not accept the fact that they're wrong. Isn't that weird? Like,
I mean, and we've seen it with that group over and over again. You know, slavery became not okay because the majority of us said, hey, we're not going to do that now. And if you believe that that's owning other people is okay, or whatever racist beliefs you have is okay, we're not going to allow that in polite society anymore. And what happened was those people just went into hiding. They just stopped saying it out loud, but they still believe it. They're still there.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing that they have, you know, found this new safety in being able to come out of the shadows and be their awful selves in public again.
They feel empowered. Yeah.
But you can't just, you know, take a rational argument to a person who is behaving irrationally and go, here, look at this. This is why racism is bad. This is why you have to leave this place. This is why your belief in zodiac signs is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You got to find other ways to reach people who are not rational thinking like that.
Yeah, and you have to like go to their level. So Data had to destroy or threaten to destroy the thing that they were so, you know, hung up on, is that stupid fucking aqueduct bullshit thing. Oh, my aqueduct, you know, hey, what about, watch this. I can destroy this in a second and make them see. So you have to like adjust your communication to people because, you know, you can't just go and tell everyone the truth and have them believe it. You have to adjust your communication.
Yep. I also thought Data's point about you can replace things, you can't replace lives was an interesting and it's one of those things that comes into my life a lot. Like when we were talking about, this deal with this house and having to leave the house that we spent, you know, a shit ton of money building and whatever. And like, it's just a house.
Yeah.
And I had my garden in the backyard that I spent a lot of time and money and, you know, and I loved being able to be out there and work the garden and grow my own foods and stuff. And I'm not going to have that for a while. But at the end of the day, I have Becca and the kids and we're all together and we're all healthy and safe.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's what's important. I can have another garden again someday.
Yeah.
But if something were to happen to one of them, I can't get that back.
Yeah.
So it really, like, the priorities that this guy had about, this thing that we built and the romanticization of, you know, that it's a representation of who we are as a people, but it's not who you are as a people. Your values are who you are as a people. And I would have loved to had a little bit more about, like, yes, Data was right. You can replace things, but not lives. But also, like, the values that got you through to this point here are values you're going to carry with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And it makes the place less important. You know.
But I mean, I do get it though. I get their feelings of sentiment. We worked so hard. We did all this, and then we have to walk away. I get it. However, I would walk away in a second if I was had to worry about 15,000 people and their well-being. Those lives do trump. For some of us, it's not even a question. Yes, I feel bad, but I will try to save people before I worry about things.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a great episode. I like this.
Yeah,
one.
it was really good. It was good.
We can handle all the pleasantries later. Now, let's get down to business.
I am willing to pay handsomely for you.
I think you've had a little too much to drink.
Now, what do you know about my money?
Your money?
The money he stole!
You stole his money?
Those vouchers I gave you were every bit as good as Latinum.
You can spend Latinum almost anywhere. Those vouchers are only good at your bar.
As always, we want to thank everybody who supports the show. We want to give a special shout out to our founding admirals on Patreon. A special thanks to Ali, Peter, Sarah D, Bruce, The Bear, and Keurig Podcast, and some call him Tim.
Thanks, patrons.
Thank you so much.
Captain, Starfleet Academy is requesting an update on our estimated arrival.
Finalists, please take your seats.
I must admit you have a very fast mind.
Once I realized it was a trick question, there was only one answer.
Although only one student will be chosen for the Academy, any of you could easily qualify. Candidates, good luck.
You got called to the superintendent's office. It's a story I'd like to hear.
Becca's back now with the answer to this week's Starfleet Academy Cadet Challenge for the Ensigns of Command. Remind us the question.
The Sheliak costume was repurposed. Can you identify who it used to be?
We guessed Armus.
That's correct.
Affirmative.
Yeah!
The difference is they just didn't cover it in oil this time. Cleaned all that oil off and used it
Gotcha.
without the oil.
All right. Well, next week we'll be reviewing Star Trek The Next Generation Season 3, Episode 3, The Survivors. The crew travels to Rana 4, a remote colony where just 2 of its 11,000 inhabitants have miraculously survived a devastating attack. How much do you remember about this episode?
I remember this one pretty
Me
well.
too. This is the one where Worf says, "Good tea, nice house," or something.
Yeah. And there's the 2 old people.
Yep.
In a force field, and they're the only ones on the planet.
And she's not real. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, what's our question for the survivors?
In this episode, the Uxbridge household is a real home in Malibu. It was designed by California architect Ellis Gelman. What year was it built, and what is its current market value?
I fucking hate you. What?
Oh, how in the fuck? That's not even fair. We would not know.
No.
Well, this one was a hard one to find anything on, so I had to revert to other random Star Trek tidbits.
I'm trying to remember what the house looked like.
I'd say the 60s. It was built in the 60s, and it's worth $10 million. I don't know. I'm totally guessing. We have to guess.
Yeah, we have to guess.
There's no way. I don't carry that information about her.
Are we going Price is Right rules, closest without going over? Okay.
But on both. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's
It's
year
2
and
different
value, so we can do it separate together.
I'll say 1962, $10 million. Final answer.
Okay.
No idea.
I'm going to say 1968, $13 million. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. And if you have any idea or no idea, you can play along, head out to your social media, share this episode with the hashtag Starfleet Challenge. We'll pick out a winner. And next time, we'll discuss Star Trek The Next Generation Season 3, Episode 3, The Survivors.
It's a good day to die.
Bye, Vale.
Humanist Trek is available wherever you replicate your podcasts. Follow us on all the social medias at Humanist Trek. Become a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Trek. Open hailing frequencies to podcast@humanisttrek.com and visit our website, humanisttrek.com. Humanist Trek is a production of Sarah Austin Media.